Well, if you're like me and you have a shop or a garage and you're out of space, but you can't really go any larger space-wise, but you have more stuff that you need to put somewhere and stuff that you already have and stuff that you need to get, the only real option to fix that is to become more efficient with your use of space. And that is what we got to do. I have been waiting and counting down the days to do this project where we're going to do a pretty massive renovation of my shop here and pretty much gut it and reset it up and add a bunch of creative storage solutions, build out custom things, and basically just try to maximize the use of space for the stuff we already have, but also new stuff. And really the last thing on the list to get to determine all of this and where everything's going to go was this bandsaw. And we have it. This wasn't actually what I wanted initially. A horizontal bandsaw. I mean, it was something I knew I could use, specifically for like stainless exhaust stuff. I wanted a vertical bandsaw. I was trying to get a used, like old Dual or something. Then I found out you can get a horizontal that goes vertical, which that's really all I needed. Take this plate, bolts on, and use it as a vertical bandsaw. I don't know, 7 inches? This way, infinite this way. If you have a true vertical bandsaw, the saw blade is like this. So you can go forever through it, but the downside is you're limited by the width between the saw blade and the frame. With the portaband setup, I can only cut this deep, whatever it is. I can cut as wide as I want. You know, I could take a 10-foot piece of exhaust and shove it through here. Well, and then there's this height limitation too, but that's my limit. So with this, we should be able to cut pretty much anything I cut. And this has a cooling system, catch can and everything. It has a 1.5 horsepower motor that we can run on 120 volt, but also 240. Yeah, that's sick, man. I'm pumped. So I had a feeling going into this that I was going to need to build some sort of frame for it one way or another, for one reason or another, to support it. And seeing the move around setup that it came with, it's basically just some axles and some solid wheels. So I went ahead and swapped it over to the 240 volt configuration because I'm going to run it on 240. That way it draws less amperage, has a little more oomph to it without drawing so much. And basically we need to build a frame for this thing that obviously will keep it as compact as possible, but also work well for storing it and being able to move it around, because the solid non-turning, non-rotating wheels are just, we're not going to cut it, because basically it'd be hard to maneuver it around and it would be hard to keep it static in a spot. There's no way to lock the wheels down or anything. So we got to build a frame, and you know, we're going to do this quick and dirty, just throw something simple together. We're not going over elaborate. However, as is usually the case, deferred maintenance on my welding table here. I've been doing a lot of MIG welding, which I don't normally do. I normally TIG weld everything, and it's ended up with a lot of spatter. And when you end up with those little BBs on the welding table, you no longer have a flat surface, and it's hard to get things to sit flat. So obviously tedious process to grind it off and recoat it, but now we got a nice flat surface, because we really want this to be flat. If anything, we don't want a wobbly bandsaw, so we got everything clamped up, squared up. That is the nice thing about doing the 45 cuts. As long as you get them cut right, pretty easy to square everything up and make sure it's right. And now we just need to weld it out. Now the downside to 45s is usually you're mounting on top of the weld. So for the bottom side, I just fusion welded it, no filler rod, so that way it's nice and flush. And then for the top side, I'll add filler. Now I'm still up in the air on how I'm going to attach the bandsaw to this frame, so we're gonna have to figure that out. But step one, get the frame done, see where we're at, and go from there. So we're going to be using these parking casters, or also known as leveling casters. These are like my Frank's Red Hot of caster choices. They go. I put them on everything, but it allows us to roll it around, but then also crank these rubber stops up and have it solid in a spot and level it. So perfect. This is kind of the perfect use case for that. So we got our frame. Now we got to figure out how do we want to attach the frame to the bandsaw. We don't need anything too crazy here. And again, in the interest of quick and dirty, getting this done, not going over elaborate, because we have about 1 million projects to tackle in this one to get this shop fully transformed, I'm just gonna do some simple angle, a couple bolt holes. It doesn't need much. The bolts are really going to be a formality, and then we'll just weld that on, and the bandsaw will effectively be wedged inside of its own little cocoon, basically, because there's not really any scenario where we're going to need to take this off. We can, ideally, once this is all done, but we shouldn't need to for any reason. So now we just got to weld them on, and again, in the spirit of quick and dirty, instead of marking them and taking them off and trying to get them perfectly square, we're just going to weld them on right with it attached to the bandsaw. Why not? All right, well, that was pretty quick and painless. I mean, that was the goal. I tried to build it, design it to be as simple as possible. I used the word design lightly. Solid, yeah. I went ahead and switched the wiring for not only the motor, but the pump to 240 volts, because I plan to run this on 240. Generally, it's just going to run a lot smoother. It uses half the amperage, blah, blah, blah. But I do still have to modify the cord, which might not be long enough. So we will have to conduit outlet, but to do that, we got to determine where we're going to put this thing, which is kind of tricky because we kind of need space for doing like a long piece of tubing, but we also need space to get to this side for when we have this thing up in the vertical position. Trying to find a spot that can do both, but also not end up wasting a bunch of space is going to be kind of tricky. I got a couple ideas. I mean, I've got a general location. I don't know. So I had kind of planned this whole area when I built this smaller table and built the shelf around putting a vertical bandsaw here in a way that I could fit my forklift R2 up underneath it. But this horizontal vertical combo kind of throws all my plans out the window. Now it is in a sense an upgrade from what I was planning on getting, because we can dual purpose use it for cutting stainless tubing and using it in the horizontal, but also use it in the vertical. Like I said, though, it does create some challenges with space and location. You know, when you're limited on space, you got to get creative with storage and where you want to put everything. And my goal is always to have my tools at least ideally usable where they are, you know, as they lie. But worst case, easily accessible to pull them out and use them. You know, the more tucked away something is, the harder it is to get to, the less likely you are to use it. So a little bit of musical tools to try to figure out the best combination and make sure that R2 can still come in and out and go up onto the loft to get things down, which we need to get down to do this next part. So unfortunately, we didn't end up putting this thing quite where I had anticipated. Really, not even close to where I thought it was going to go. But that's kind of how it goes when you're putting in tools and things. You can look at it and try to get an idea, but that and reality are usually pretty different. So I had to drop some conduit down to this box. It's luckily a really short run, but there wasn't really any great way out of the box aside from doing this double 90. And yeah, we've got to run it to another box for a couple of reasons. Number one, the cord on this thing is just a little bit short, but also that box has a lot going on in it, so trying to cram an outlet in there, not ideal. So not a big deal though. Fortunately, we had that box there, so it could have been a lot trickier, a lot more work to add an outlet drop. All right, well, it took a little bit of time. Well, honestly, more time than I wished I had to spend on this, but the switch wasn't working. You can kind of maybe see, yeah, see how it doesn't stay all the way down? Luckily, it's the same switch for the coolant pump, so I ordered a switch, it'll be here tomorrow, but I stole the coolant pump switch, and now we are functional. Oh, a lot of hassle. Defective switch. Yeah, this blade's just way low teeth count, teeth per inch. This is like a wood blade, so we gotta change the blade. Yeah, so take a look here. You see what I mean. Nice. Yeah, it works really well. Since I plan to use this thing in the vertical position a lot, that dinky little stamp steel table is not going to cut it. Fortunately, I got a fresh bandsaw blade. The nice, expensive brand one I got had a missing tooth, so the cheap one actually ended up being better. But basically, this is a pretty straightforward shape. It's not too complicated. Or cutting the slot for it to slide on as the table with the bandsaw, which is kind of funny. It's kind of making parts for itself. But this is shouldn't be too elaborate. I mean, compared to the little dinky stamp steel table that it came with, this should be a massive upgrade. I am a little bit worried though with the mounting point and everything that it's going to be a little flimsy still, but again, it's just about anything should be an upgrade from that dinky little thing. I was planning on dimple dyeing it to kind of help add some rigidity, but I don't know, it's kind of nice having it smooth. Or I could, yeah, actually that's a good idea. You know, this is the part of fabrication projects that can both be a rabbit hole that makes things take way more time than you expect, but also, I don't know, it's part of it that I enjoy, the challenge, the problem solving. So this thing's not rigid enough. I mean, I kind of assumed, but I thought, you know, it being 1/8 inch aluminum versus the super thin plate that was on there, maybe we could get away with it, but it's not going to work. So I took this piece of angle and basically notched it so that we could bend it around to follow the outside dimension of this plate, and this should add a lot of rigidity and structure to this because now you got to bend the angle and the plate itself. So, you know, not something I was really planning on doing from the beginning. I thought if anything, you know, I maybe add some bracing underneath down to the frame of the bandsaw or something, you know, something like that. I wasn't thinking of adding this border, but I mean, I gotta say it was pretty satisfying in this thing to shape and make it fit. It's obviously tricky. You got to get your dimensions right, but so far so good. Fits on there nicely. We just gotta weld it on. I decided to do the top weld for structural reasons because the bottom weld is, you know, an inch in from the outside, but admittedly it was just also kind of fun. I was enjoying welding this. I haven't done a lot of aluminum TIG welding recently, so anytime I get the chance, it's nice to get the seat time. And this one, you know, for being a home gamer, it came out pretty okay. All right, I'm still gonna add the piece of angle here. This should bump the rigidity up quite a bit. I mean, it is a lot better. Yeah, I think that little stop will help a lot. Keep this from making so much noise. All right, well, that came out pretty decent. I'm really happy with the welding, except for this spot right on the dang front of it. It just globbed up on me. But yeah, it's not perfect. I need to put that stop in. I need to put a piece of angle on this spot, considering some sort of other bracing, but I don't want to go too wild with this. I got my finer tooth blade. This is 3/4 of an inch this way. And I got some 1/2 inch ones, which is what this one is. It's a good bit smaller front to back. Now, the downside of that is it's not as stable cutting through something like stainless tubing, but it's better for trying to make curvy, intricate cuts. So having that as an option to throw on when we're doing this kind of stuff will be great. So anyway, like I said, for right now, it works. It's functional. It's wired up. Wiring's all done. I don't love this, but there was no room for here, then out here. There wasn't really another great place to do it. Yeah, we need to move on. I don't want to waste too much time messing with this and trying to perfect it. I could spend a whole day freaking working on this thing. But if I do want to work on it more, it'd be nice to have some space to do so. So we need to tackle this area. That was required, so we can get rid of this being on the table and then do all this. Right? Hand gestures. We've got to set up this thing too. We got a lot of other stuff to do, so I need to quit jibber jabbering. We have a new thingy-mabob. Let's get to this. See if we can transform this area. I'm pretty excited about this. Yeah, it should be pretty cool. Let's get to it. I cannot begin to tell you how excited I am to clean off this area. This is not my MO. This is not how I like to operate. Just stuff everywhere, clutter, no room to work. I need workbenches, and I try to keep my workbenches clear so you have them to work on things, not just to become a catch-all for storage. So getting this area straightened out is a huge step, and the nature of maximizing our use of space, we got to use the walls. The walls are a great way to store things. To basically, it's almost free storage, right? Things stick off the wall a little bit, they take up a little bit of space, but compared to a lot of other ways to store things, storing stuff on the wall is generally a good spot to do it that doesn't take away much, but adds a lot of storage. The problem is my shop being just kind of a tube steel building. I got to do the hang weight test, you know. It's like the testing the ratchet strap. That ain't going nowhere, you know. But it being the type of building that it is, and me not having done any plywood walls or anything when I was building it, it's kind of tough to mount things on the wall. You don't have a lot of structure there by default to attach to. So what's kind of become my go-to method is to build some 1x2 pieces and basically mount them to the wall, and then I can mount things like this pegboard to them. Now, the other downside is all the electrical conduit and all of these other things that are kind of in the way, along with the spray foam. The spray foam's kind of the biggest hassle. I made what I think is a mistake now of going with 3-inch thick spray foam, which is great for insulation, but it's really not a huge difference from doing 2-inch spray foam. And the downside is where it is thicker than 3-inch, it's kind of always in the way, and you've got to cut it back. I literally have a saw specifically for cutting back the spray foam to be able to mount different things. So there's just a lot of things that you have to work around and not a lot of structure to work to initially. So it's just tricky. It's a little tedious. You got to build out your structure and build around things like this electrical box. But the more pegboard I can put up now, I mean, even 3 pieces of pegboard is going to be a huge improvement from nothing. But the more we can put up now, the less we're going to have to put up later, because inevitably we're going to need the space and need to put them up. So I want to get as much wall storage up as I can, and it means not being lazy and making some more things to try to make this work. I'm gonna have to get a little creative at this point. It's not so straightforward now. All right, well, we got all of our panels set up. This worked out. I was planning on having to try to work around this, but just bolting it to the face worked. But I got to finish getting things set up. I already started on the grinder station because we got grinders, right? Well, but yeah, let's get this area done. The drill press got to move and stuff. I'm not 100% on how I want to do this, but weak snap. All right, check it out. Wow. Man, I gotta say, this is pretty freaking satisfying. I may or may not have moved it all around several times. And that's the challenge with pegboard, but that's what's nice about pegboard, is you can just keep shuffling things around until you find the right combination. The grinders actually were over there, but then I wanted to put this stuff from the belt grinder here, but then I'm going to put the sawzalls there, and it made more sense over here anyway, but this stuff was on the post here, but as you can see, it gets very dirty, so then every time I need to use these, they're caked, So still got some room to expand there. Could always move the sawzalls. They didn't have to go up on the pegboard, but it's just nice to be able to see what blades I have and what's going on versus them being in a drawer. Some of this other stuff, again, same kind of concept. Doesn't have to be up here. You always want to leave yourself room to expand, and I'm like going against my own advice on that. And you want to fill it up, but you really need to leave yourself room to expand. So anyway, those are kind of placeholders, I guess you could say. So it's compromise. But the craziest thing is this is my die grinder setup. All my consumables, the different die grinders, and these have been in a organizer for like 7 years. This is the first time I wasn't even planning on putting these up here, but after getting the grinders all organized, I decided, you know what? This is the stuff I use on a daily basis. Big grinders, die grinders, probably most used, and drills, drill bits, those kind of things. These are my main ones. So it's really nice to have them all up here, be able to see at a glance what we have, what we don't have, all of the consumables. I've got a few more consumables to add. For the grinders here, for example, I've got different bins coming. For these consumables, I got my band file up here, got some belts for it coming, which will hang on here. Little stuff like that. Like, it's not fully done, and dusted. But it's there. Oh, and this, I got, these are like too bulky to put on the pegboard, and we ended up using all of it anyway. So they're all hanging on hooks. Wood, circular saw, steel / metal, circular saw, porta band, jigsaw. I have the jigsaw blades here. So again, I'm sure it'll change around a little bit more. I clearly need to add some lights under here, but what a feeling, man. I just love pegboard. I love wall organizing stuff because it's such a good use of space, and it's so easy to see what you have. And if you need the drill and drill bits, oh, I forgot this one's on the specialty hook thing. And the drill bits. That's it. That's all you got to do. Done with them. Boom. Done and dusted. All right, cool. Anyway, I don't want to jibber jabber on too much. Oh, quick side note, if you haven't done pegboard and you're going to learn from my mistakes, this is a long time ago, but don't get the pegboard kit with a bunch of stuff. You're not going to use most of it. A lot of it is these single hooks, which suck. They are useless. You have to use these little springs to hold them straight, and they swivel around. They're really annoying. There's almost nothing that I ever use those for. I don't know why I'm saving them. I've had this for like 5 years. Don't get that. Just get these kind of hooks. The two 2-post little hook deals. And most, at least for me, even with large stuff, almost everything 2-inch. 2-inch works 90% of the time. Also, I repurposed the organizer that my die grinders have been in forever. It's going to be an adjustment for me, not having them in an organizer, but I repurposed it for my rib nut tool. So I got this pneumatic one, got the right angle hand and the drill one. I still have the large kind of standard one, but it's too bulky. But then that, the tooling, boom, and then M4, M5, M6, M6 long, and M8. So jibber jabber, that's the update. That's where we're at. It's just been tedious. I've changed it so many times. Now that we've got it mostly cleared off, I still got to decide where I want to put the vise, because I got to clear this table off, because I got to build several things, like multiple things we need to fabricate. And if I just put my head down and hustle through it, we should be able to get it done pretty quick. So let us get to it. I don't know if this is a cool thing or would just be a lack of imagination, but this has kind of become my patented, it's not patented, but my garage-built shelf bracket building method. It's something I've fine-tuned over the years. I initially didn't make the holes large enough for access, and anyway, I've slowly kind of figured out the optimal way to do it, and now it just kind of, if I need to make a shelf bracket, that's kind of how I do it, unless it's another kind of shelf bracket I need to make that's got to go on an angled piece. Then I've got a little bit different method for that. But yeah, I had to whip up those shelf brackets and then some more brackets, and then I've got to cut this leftover MDF top. It was a big 4x8 table that I had used all my sticker collection from over the years on and epoxied over. So, I wanted to retain it. And I've been kind of waiting for the right project to use that last piece on. I used a big chunk of it on the new fabrication area table. But when I said we were going to be chugging away on a bunch of fabrication projects, there is a lot of things to do, and I was trying to, stick with the quick and dirty method on all of these, and this isn't necessarily going away from that, but sometimes it's a little bit quicker to design something up and then just plasma cut it, since we have the option, as opposed to having to make it by hand, especially if we have to make multiple of them, and I need to make 4 of these, and using this kind of leftover angle piece from a fire pit I built recently, and there's just enough room to squeak them all on there, so yeah, it's a lot of cutting, a lot of grinding, a lot of welding. We've got, again, a lot of things to make, but if we can knock all of these things out, it is going to make a world of difference. So many of these projects are things that I've been thinking about doing and meaning to do when I'm doing other projects for years and years and years. And yeah, if we can marathon through this, get them all done, that'll be pretty dang sweet. So I'm just going to keep chugging away. So while I was building the other projects, I had clear coated my shelf brackets. It actually wasn't something I was thinking of doing until my neighbor thought that's what I was doing, and he said, I like the way those look raw. And I was like, you know what? I think you're right. Even though he thought that's what I was already planning on doing, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I decided to clear coat them, and they actually came out pretty nice. Now, that first set is actually for an office project I've been working on, but the rest of this stuff is all for the shop. And I mean, every which way, this is all for organization and storage. You got to go up, you got to go on the wall, you got to get creative, and hopefully all this stuff will make us a little more organized, a little more storage, and have some room to grow. So these belt grinder belts have been kind of a hassle for a very long time because I use my belt grinder on a regular basis, and I have a bunch of different grade belts, from really coarse belts to the Scotch-Brite style belts to fine grit belts, but I pretty much use the same couple all the time because they're all piled on one hook, and I've been meaning to add hooks, but it goes back to the same problem that requires us building a lot of stuff, which is that we don't have a lot of structure to just mount hooks to, so we had to build hooks. And after doing the bottom ones and getting those spread out, it looked a little bit empty up at the top, and we could definitely use even more hooks to have some more storage to expand our belts. I've kind of just held off on getting more belts because they're just going to get stuck in the pile and probably not used. So I decided to go ahead and whip up 2 more of these same kind of brackets, just a little bit shorter for the upper layer. That way, A, functionally we have more storage, but B, it just will look a little more uniform than having a bunch of belts down low and then just the one hook up top. It was bothering me. I'm so used to seeing a freaking gaggle of belts up there that just seeing a few was weird. As I have maybe a tendency to do, I might be overusing the clear coat, and I've got to let the clear coat dry on that steel one, because of course I clear coated it too, but hey, it's working well, and why change what works? And speaking of not changing what works, this is what's going to become a patented garage-built method of building a bracket for this, and I want to say that this is something I've needed to do for a while, but this is all of these projects we're tackling are things I've needed to do for a while, but this one is, I don't know, it's kind of a funny one. It's something I had thought of making and wasn't sure if it was worthwhile or maybe a little silly to make, but it actually should make a pretty big difference in just the overall usability of the shop. For me, I really prioritize being able to easily grab what I need to grab and move things around. The easier it is to do that, grab tools, so on and so forth, the less time you spend doing that. And this, for as kind of simple as its job is going to be, it actually should have a pretty big impact in doing that. And if you wondered what I was going to coat it with, you guessed it. It's going to get clear coated. So the timing's working out. We're kind of round robining this, and the clear coat's dried on the brackets we made before that bracket. So then now that's getting clear coated, and while it's drying, we can try to get these brackets hung up. But I'm pretty happy with how this clear coat method's coming out, and I kind of wish I had started using it before on a lot of the stuff I've made, because it's kind of satisfying and kind of neat to do. So we got our secondary hooks hung up, and then our clear coat dried. Another benefit to the clear coat, dries fast, and we could get our trash can bracket hung up. Sounds silly, sounds like a menial thing, but I have to put R2 under it, and every time the trash can's always in the way. So the one done. This thing, metal dust gets everywhere, which is part of why the grinder has its own corner, so it mostly dirties up the corner. But as I started to dabble in cleaning it up, I couldn't help but decide to do a bit of a deep clean, pull the grinder out, clean it off entirely. I forget what it even looks like when it's not caked in metal dust, and blow this area out, vacuum it out, and now we have a fully organized and set up grinder area. Man, this is going to make a world of difference when it comes to grinding things, because we can actually access all our belts and not have to pull a whole pile of 20 belts down to try to sift through it. So not only that, but the old belt grinder is looking good as new with a dang dust off. You kind of forget how dirty it gets until you clean it off. But that's done. It's time to move on to the next fab project. This was one I wasn't really planning on doing initially, but throughout this process of fabricating all the other stuff, I realized I should probably do this too. But we're sticking with the plan, quick and dirty. We're going to hammer this out. Not going over elaborate, not over complicating it, just quick and dirty. Did I mention we're going to do it quick and dirty? It may look familiar, but it is for something very different. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I guess it's kind of similar. This is a good example of a project that I could spend a week building and going super elaborate and adding every possible feature, or I could try to knock it out in a couple hours and make it as simple as possible, which is the route we're going to try to go. Hopefully there's no surprise complications. All right, well, we are most definitely chugging away. While I'm waiting on that to dry, I clear coated it like all this other stuff. I figured I'd show you guys, because we've been marathoning this. This has definitely been a marathon, but I'm really happy with how everything's turned out. So much of this stuff I've wanted to make for so long, and to do it all at once. I mean, starting with the trash can hanger, beautiful. Putting R2 under here, as you can see. The leg goes under it. It's always annoying. You're always kind of moving it around when you're putting this in and out. So stoked on that. Drill bit shelf. I was going to make this more elaborate with the top, which maybe I'll still add it. I don't know. But it worked out. Just super simple. Drill bit shelf. I still got to go through all my bits and organize them into there. So they're all in one spot, including these. Well, those will stay because those are for, whatever. And then these. It's kind of funny how this worked out, right? I don't know if I told you yet, but I didn't have enough of this 1x1 with having to make that, which is out there. Clear coat on it, drying right now. That's just, if you wonder where I point to. So I was like, what am I going to do? And then it dawned on me, well, these are the aluminum belts, and you have to keep them separate because otherwise you'll contaminate the aluminum specifically. It's not as big of a deal if you contaminate the steel, but anyway, separate belts, right? So easy. Never forget which belts are for what. Steel brackets, steel belts. Aluminum brackets, aluminum belts. Oh, I can't tell you how long I wanted to do something over here for organizing these belts, because I would never get any more because I didn't have any room and they're all already just a jumbled mess. Now I can grab the exact one I need instead of being like, let me just grab the one that's easy to get to because these other ones are so buried. Anyway, you get the idea. So I still need to set this up. My neighbor gave me this for hardware because I got 2 boxes of hardware over here that I have yet to put in my inventory of hardware because I'm out of space on my little bolt organizer wall here, which is also kind of in a not great place. It's always kind of annoying to have to come over here. So basically I'm going to transfer all of this, this is my plan at least, to that. But I want to put these Viper chairs together. I'm so pumped on these. I'm so happy with how the color came out. Look at them compared to my... but yeah, basically, I need to put these together while that's drying too. So I got a lot to do while that's drying, huh? No. But we gotta keep things moving. Let's turn this pile of boxes, get you a little better, into a pile of chairs. Ready, steady, spaghetti, whitey, ready? Check it out. Wow, man. Seeing them in the boxes and knowing they existed was one thing, but seeing them all out and about, wow. It's perfect. We got too low, too high, and the, what would you call it, work rolly thingy compared to this. Oh, we don't have a lot of time for me to talk about this and jibber jabber, but I am itching to see if this works. So our clear coatage has dried. I literally ran out of the can right as I did this. Let's put this thing together. See if it works. Like I said, this is the definition of a quick and dirty one. Just slammed it together and hoping it works. I'm actually going to probably use this for my wood saw. I got a wood project I need to do in my spare time. But just to give you an idea of the size difference, obviously the trade-off is these arms extend, you know, for when you're using long pieces. But again, trade-offs. This is not as usable or useful when it's set up, but it's easier to leave set up and move around than this is. I'm just weird about, like, I don't like having things that are temp set up. I don't know. Don't judge me. This is going to be kind of hard to push down without the weight on it. Yeah, I want to see if my wood saw fits on this. Yeah, I need to make those cross braces, which I use this to cut them. Like I said, cutting like mild carbon steel like that, this thing is just so much faster than anything else. So the trade-off of doing it quick and simple is I kind of undershot it on the structure. I wanted to not do any bracing, so that way you can slide this over top of something and straddle something when you're storing it. It definitely helps a lot and opens up your storage options, but it ended up being just a little bit too flimsy. And yeah, we need to add some bracing, but we're going to make them bolt-on in case we ever want to change it. Plus, I already clear-coated it because I was committed to the design and not knowing if it worked. It was a gamble. I said it was a gamble. We lost the gamble slightly, but we got it fixed. Much better. All right, well, that was not something I had planned on doing at the beginning of this, but I'm glad I did. Save us some space and allow us to keep this thing readily accessible. And we can still, you know, straddle stuff with it. So I actually have been working on a cleaning out my closet project in the house, and I had a lot of electronics for between this and the RX-7 in my closet. Instead of keeping them in there, I'm going to put them up here on the shelf. And I really need to sort out this mess on this bench as well as up here. A lot of this stuff can get tossed or tucked away. So anyway, I'm gonna do all that and I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah, wish me luck. Got a lot of stuff to determine where to put it and to put it. You know what I'm saying? I can get it out, I think. Not really. Well, after a lot of building, designing, mounting, and moving, it's time for the fun but yet tedious part. I've basically got to just kind of final set everything up, get everything in place, and decide where everything needs to go, and put it all together. I'm really excited to get this thing together because I think it'll be the perfect place to store bolts and a really good use of floor space. But, of course, being a little indecisive, it's tough to figure out how I want to stagger these shelves. Final bag. Look at that, man. Woo! What a feeling to have this thing fully set up. Oh, this thing is so sweet. Huge shout out to my neighbor Bill. This is like the perfect solution. Freaking Lazy Susan bolt bin. I got them all labeled. I got all my old hardware from over there in, and all my new hardware that I know where to put, all fully in. We are stocked up and organized. So I've just been going at it. I'm dog with a bone. I couldn't let it go. I wanted to finish, and I cannot tell you how pumped I am on how this came out. So I got to give you a rapid fire tour because I've done a lot of things. So yeah, obviously got that set up. This, I ended up putting it here. Pretty happy with it. Fits nicely. It's actually easier to get this R2 out. So boom, that's all good. Done and dusted. My new bins came in for my consumables for the die grinders. So that's all set up and organized. Happy with that. I got my drill bits, all my, old mismatched cases of bits all organized into here instead of having a bunch of little cases lying around. So that's done. This area sorted. Good to go. And I got one of my tall chairs back here for welding. Let's see, got my two low chairs here for hanging out and chilling. Put the arc droid here, which actually worked out really well. I don't know why. Oh, I didn't put it there because the chairs are there. Got the creep around work chair tucked under there. I finally added a hardline drop to here because whenever I'm machining stuff, I need to blow it off. And I have to disconnect the tire machine to hook a hose up there. So I had this lying around, put a T-boom over to here. So now we got our little bungee hose. I also drilled and tapped it for 8th MPT ports so we can run push lock fitting to little solenoid valves, which I literally have sitting right here, ready to go. So I can set it up to automatically blow the chips away, right? So anyway, been meaning to do that. That's done, set up, ready to go. This area sorted out. Oh, and back here. Cleared a ton of stuff out of here. So all that we really have left is the tray and the batteries, which are going in the bus. So this area is pretty well empty. These I've got to go through and grab all the parts I need out, both for the RX-7 and the Miata. That's why they're in here, and then those will go. There's still some cleaning and organizing to do and purging. I did a lot. That's why I had to head down because it was just, so tedious and time consuming. But to really go further, I basically need to gut the container, the loft, and the garage, and then shuffle things around in order of what needs to be accessed, you know what I mean? And purge a lot of stuff. So that's a project for another day. But I got this shelf that was completely cluttered all the way on top of the cabinets and everything, cleared off, organized. It's all just kind of tools and stuff here that I need access to. Some of the bulky stuff, which cleared out even more room out of the toolbox, including doing the pegboard. Got some more display, if you want to call it, parts up there. Oh, shoot, man, see, this is what I mean. There's so many things. All these parts I had in my closet, organized and laid out up there on those shelves. But yeah, it feels so good to see this area cleaned up and organized. The foldable workbench is actually foldable again, because it's not covered in stuff. I finally ordered the replacements for these. These are only 17 inches deep, 32 inches wide. So I got 48-inch wide ones that are 24 inches deep, which will be awesome because we are at capacity. We ain't got no room to grow in here. So the new ones will come down to here, which means these have to move. Already got a plan for that. But those will be here in, I don't know, a week or so. So finally got those coming, which will help a lot with organizing that stuff. And I finally hung up Miata door skins. I been saving the doors for a while, finally cut them apart recently, and then got them hung up on the wall. And yeah, I'm sure there's more that I'm forgetting, but like I said, I just head down, went at it because I wanted to get this done and dusted and get all of it done. And this shelf's bothering me because, of course, it's one thing I haven't tackled yet, but that's okay. I'll do it. But it feels like if you've been working outside in the Florida summer, humidity, sweating like crazy for a week, and then you finally got to take a shower, that's what it feels like for me. Finally having this place cleaned and mostly clutter-free and all these odds and ends that I've wanted to do done and dusted. Ah, it feels so good. What a feeling. Oh, one more. This one's actually really cool. It was one of the boxes I had down here. So I actually got this after I had got my desktop mini CNC machine, because this is more user-friendly, and I just hadn't had a chance to set it up yet. So I got it set up here next to the 3D printer. This is the Carvera Air. This thing is really cool. I think for getting into CNC stuff, this is the way to go, because it is, I mean, look at this little toolkit that they include. That's all organized. Makes me so happy, satisfying. Comes with like, materials for learning. I got the 4th axis, which is a big thing, so it can hold a piece and spin it while this is doing its thing, so you can do more intricate stuff. Now my other one is a little more powerful. All right, it can hog out more material faster, but this one is a lot more plug and play, user friendly. So having both will be great for prototyping stuff, depending on what we're making, being able to make stuff faster. So I am really excited to play with this thing and see how it is. So yeah, anyway, that's that. I gotta wrap this up. I should have wrapped it up already. I'm still jibber jabbering, but freaking A, man. What a feeling. I did not think I was gonna get into all that clutter removal, organizing stuff. I wasn't really planning on it, but I got started and it just, it felt so good to get it done. I feel fresh and new and rejuvenated. I know, pegboard, we've done so many things, I forget everything we've done. So yeah, that probably means I should wrap it up. So that being said, it's time to get back to work on the cars, which I'm really excited to do in my freshly cleaned shop. Baby, let's go. I think I'm actually going to start on the RX-7. Got some big news on that. So get that thing on the lift and tear into it. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming over the next few months. So I'm excited to see you guys for that, but I got to end it. Got to wrap it up. Taking way too much time on this. So, and I still got my freaking office project to finish. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go work on that. But thanks for watching. Oh, let me know what you guys think of the shop upgrades, all the little odds and ends, builds and things. And yeah, I'll see you for the next one. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Goodbye. I said I was going to say goodbye. I'm sorry. Why are you keeping me? I said I needed to go.